Ladies, let's have an honest conversation. How many times have you been told, either directly or through society's subtle messages, that your best years are behind you? That once you hit a certain age, you should step aside, blend into the background, and accept that younger is always better? Well, I'm here today to tell you that's complete nonsense. And if you've been buying into that narrative, it's time to wake up to a beautiful truth. Many older women are more attractive now than they ever were in their 20s and 30s. The problem isn't that you're not attractive, it's that you don't realize just how magnetic you've become. Hi, and welcome back to the Heart Code, where we celebrate women who are just getting started, no matter what age they are. Today, we're diving deep into something that needs to be said out loud. The 11 unmistakable signs that you're not just aging, you're absolutely thriving and radiating an attraction that's more powerful than anything you possessed in your youth. Now, before we jump in, I want you to do something for me. I want you to set aside any preconceived notions you have about beauty, attraction, and age, because what we're talking about today isn't about fighting time or trying to look 20 again. It's about recognizing and embracing a completely different kind of attractiveness. One that's deeper, more authentic, and frankly, more compelling than anything surface-level beauty could ever offer. You see, there's this interesting phenomenon happening. You might not be getting constant compliments anymore. You're not turning every head when you walk down the street like you might have in your 20s. You're definitely not fishing for attention or chasing validation like you used to. But something has shifted, hasn't it? People notice you differently now. They're drawn to you in ways that feel more meaningful, more substantial. And yet so many of you brush this off. You tell yourselves it's just in your head. Maybe people are just being polite. Maybe you're imagining things. But what if I told you that what you're sensing isn't a coincidence? What if it's actually the emergence of authentic, mature attractiveness, and it's incredibly powerful? Here's what's fascinating. A study published in Psychology and Aging found something remarkable. While people in their 20s were often rated higher on surface-level physical appearance, older women consistently scored higher on presence, confidence, and relational depth, factors that deeply influence real attraction, not the fleeting kind that fades with a bad lighting or a tired day, but the kind that makes people want to be around you, to know you, to learn from you. So if you've been wondering whether you're still attractive, whether you still have it, whatever it is, I want you to pay close attention to what we're about to discuss. Because by the end of this video, you might just realize that you're not losing your attractiveness as you age. You're discovering a completely new dimension of it. If this resonates with you already, go ahead and hit that like button because we're just getting started. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we're building a community of women who refuse to be invisible, regardless of their age. Are you ready? Let's dive into the 11 signs that prove you're not just an older woman. You're a very attractive older woman who's finally coming into her power. Before we jump into our 11 signs, we need to address the elephant in the room: society's obsession with youth when it comes to female attractiveness. We're constantly bombarded with messages that peak beauty happens in your 20s, that everything after that is a slow decline, and that the best a woman can hope for as she ages is to age gracefully, which usually means trying to look as young as possible for as long as possible. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes. While mainstream media continues to perpetuate these myths, real research and real-world experiences are telling a completely different story. A 2019 comprehensive study on attraction across age groups found that while initial physical attraction might peak in youth, sustained attraction, the kind that actually matters in relationships and social interactions, often peaks much later in life for women. Why? Because attraction isn't just about smooth skin and a 22-year-old body. Real attraction is about presence, confidence, emotional intelligence, life experience, and that indefinable quality we call magnetism. And guess what develops over time? All of those things. Think about it this way. When you were 25, you might have had fewer wrinkles, but did you have the confidence to walk into any room and own your space? Did you have the emotional intelligence to handle complex social situations with grace? Did you have the life experience to offer valuable perspectives and insights? Probably not to the degree you do now. This is why so many women report feeling more attractive in their 40s, 50s and beyond than they ever did in their youth. Once they learn to recognize and value the different type of attractiveness they've developed. Now let's get into the specific signs that indicate you've developed this powerful, mature attractiveness. Sign number 1. You carry yourself with unshakable confidence. This one is absolutely huge, and it's probably the most magnetic quality an older woman can possess. When you walk into a room now, you don't need to be the loudest person to be noticed. Your posture is naturally upright. Your movements are intentional rather than self-conscious. You speak with calm authority rather than seeking approval. And here's the beautiful thing about this confidence. It's not the showy, insecure kind that needs constant validation. It's quiet, solid, unshakable confidence that comes from having lived, failed, succeeded, grown, and learned. You've been through enough life experiences to know who you are, what you stand for, and what you're capable of. That kind of confidence is absolutely magnetic. A 2022 survey by eHarmony revealed something fascinating. 64% of men aged 35 and older said that confidence in a woman was more attractive than physical beauty alone. But it's not just romantic attraction we're talking about here. This confidence affects every interaction you have. People are drawn to confident individuals because confidence is reassuring, inspiring, and frankly, quite rare. You see, when you were younger, you might have been constantly second-guessing yourself. Am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Do I belong here? Am I saying the right thing? But now, you've answered enough of those questions through life experience. You know you belong in any room you choose to enter. You know your thoughts and opinions have value. You know you can handle whatever comes your way because you've already handled so much. This shows up in dozens of small ways throughout your day. You don't over-explain your decisions. You don't apologize for taking up space. You don't laugh nervously to fill silence. You don't minimize your accomplishments or deflect compliments. You simply exist with a quiet assurance that's incredibly attractive. And here's what's particularly powerful about mature confidence. It's not dependent on external validation. Younger people often exude confidence that's actually quite fragile. It needs constant reinforcement from others to survive. But your confidence, it comes from within. It's been tested, challenged, and has emerged stronger. That's the kind of confidence that makes people stop and take notice. If you recognize this in yourself, if you've noticed that you carry yourself differently now than you did 20 years ago, if you feel more solid and assured in who you are, then that's not just personal growth, that's attractive personal growth. Own it. Sign number 2. Younger people are naturally drawn to you. Have you noticed this happening more and more? Younger people want to be around you, talk to you, seek out your company, and yes, sometimes even flirt with you. This isn't just coincidence, and it's not just because you're cool for your age. It's because you give off something that's incredibly appealing: warmth, stability, emotional intelligence, and that rare quality of not being desperate for approval. When you were younger, you might have been so focused on fitting in with your peer group, on being accepted and liked, that you didn't have much emotional energy left over for others. But now, you're not scrambling for acceptance. You're not performing for approval. You're just genuinely yourself, and that authentic presence is like a magnet. Data from OkCupid revealed something that might surprise you. A significant number of younger men aged 25 to 35 actively seek out older women because they find them more emotionally mature, self-aware, and interestingly complex. But this attraction isn't just romantic. It's social, professional, and personal. Think about your interactions with younger colleagues, neighbors, or acquaintances. Do they linger in conversations with you? Do they ask for your perspective on things? Do they seem genuinely interested in what you have to say? Do they invite you to things, include you in their plans, or just seem to enjoy your company? This happens because you offer something that's often missing in their interactions with people their own age: depth, perspective, and emotional stability. You're not caught up in the same dramas, insecurities, and competitive dynamics that often characterize younger social groups. You can offer guidance without judgment, wisdom without condescension, and friendship without hidden agendas. Moreover, you've developed what psychologists call emotional regulation, the ability to manage your emotions effectively and respond rather than react to situations. This creates a sense of calm and safety that younger people find incredibly appealing, especially in our current high-stress, high-anxiety world. So if you've noticed that younger people seem drawn to your energy, if they seek out your company and seem to genuinely enjoy being around you, that's not random. That's a reflection of your inner attractiveness manifesting in your relationships. Sign number 3. People constantly seek your wisdom and advice. This one often gets overlooked because we tend to think of it as just being helpful or knowledgeable. But when people constantly come to you for insight, feedback, or life advice, it's actually a sign of high social influence and attractiveness, just not the kind we typically think about. Attractive older women don't just turn heads. They guide minds. They influence decisions. They shape perspectives. And that kind of power is incredibly magnetic. Research from the Journal of Interpersonal Attraction shows that women perceived as wise and emotionally intelligent often scored highest in long-term attractiveness ratings, especially among those seeking meaningful connections rather than superficial interactions. You're not just pretty, you're valuable, and people instinctively recognize that value. Think about it. When people have a difficult decision to make, when they're going through a challenging time, when they need perspective on a situation, who do they turn to? If the answer is often you, that's because you've developed something incredibly attractive: wisdom combined with the ability to communicate it effectively. This isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the life experience to ask the right questions, to see situations from multiple perspectives, and to offer guidance that's both practical and compassionate. You've made enough mistakes to help others avoid them. You've faced enough challenges to know that most problems are survivable. You've lived enough life to understand that most situations are more complex than they initially appear. But here's what makes this particularly attractive. You offer this wisdom without being preachy, condescending, or know-it-all. You've learned the art of sharing insights in a way that empowers rather than diminishes the person seeking advice. You can validate someone's feelings while also helping them see new possibilities. You can be supportive while also being honest. This combination of wisdom, empathy, and emotional intelligence creates a magnetic quality that draws people to you repeatedly. They don't just come to you once for advice. They keep coming back because they trust your judgment, value your perspective, and feel better after talking with you. If you're the person your friends call when they need to talk through a problem, if your adult children or younger relatives seek your counsel, if colleagues ask for your input on important decisions, that's not just because you're wise, it's because you're attractively wise. There's a difference, and people feel it. Sign number 4. You've outgrown competition with other women. This is a big one, and it's something that often happens gradually as women mature. You've outgrown petty rivalries, jealousy, and the need to compete with other women to prove your worth. Attractive older women don't tear others down to shine brighter, they lift others up, and that quiet strength and lack of insecurity is incredibly rare and magnetic. When you were younger, you might have felt threatened by other attractive women. You might have compared yourself constantly, felt jealous of others' successes, or even participated in subtle put-downs or competitive behavior. But something shifts as you mature and become more secure in who you are. Multiple case studies from relationship coaching firms show that women over 40 who embrace collaboration over competition are more likely to be described as magnetic by both peers and romantic partners. Why? Because this behavior signals profound self-confidence and emotional maturity. This shows up in numerous ways in your daily life. You genuinely celebrate other women's successes. You're generous with compliments and recognition. You don't feel threatened when another woman receives attention or praise. You can be friends with women who are younger, prettier, or more successful than you without feeling insecure. In social situations, you're the woman who introduces people to each other, who highlights others' accomplishments, who makes everyone feel included and valued. You don't need to be the center of attention because you're secure in your own worth. This lack of competitive energy is incredibly attractive because it's so rare. Most people, regardless of age, still carry some level of insecurity that manifests as competitiveness or subtle put-downs. But you've transcended that. You understand that another woman's beauty, success, or happiness doesn't diminish your own. This creates a powerful, positive energy around you. People feel safe in your presence because they know you're not judging them or competing with them. They can be themselves without fear that you'll use their vulnerabilities against them or feel threatened by their strengths. Men find this particularly attractive because it signals emotional stability and maturity. They don't have to worry about drama, jealousy, or competitive behavior. Women find it attractive too because it's so refreshing to be around someone who genuinely wants to see them succeed. If you've noticed that you no longer feel threatened by other women's success, if you find yourself genuinely celebrating others' achievements, if you've stopped comparing yourself to others as a measure of your own worth, that's not just personal growth, that's attractive personal growth. Sign number 5. You know how to dress for yourself. This one is subtle but powerful. You don't chase trends anymore. You don't dress to impress others or to fit into someone else's idea of what's appropriate for your age. You dress to feel good, to express your personality, and to honor your body as it is right now, whether it's a perfectly fitted blazer that makes you feel powerful, a signature piece of jewelry that has meaning to you, or simply understanding which colors and styles make you feel most like yourself. You've developed your own sense of style that's authentic rather than imitative. A 2021 poll by YouGov found something remarkable. 70% of women over 40 said they felt more attractive now than they did a decade earlier, largely because they finally learned what styles worked best for their figure and personality. They stopped trying to be someone else and started being the best version of themselves. This confidence in your personal style is incredibly attractive because it signals self-knowledge and self-acceptance. You're not trying to dress like you're 25. You're not hiding your body or your age. You're not following fashion magazines' dictates about what's appropriate for women your age. You're simply dressing in a way that makes you feel confident, comfortable, and authentically you. This might mean you've developed a signature style. Perhaps you're known for your beautiful scarves, your elegant jewelry, your perfectly tailored pants, or your ability to make casual clothes look effortlessly chic. Or it might mean you've simply learned to choose clothes that fit well, flatter your body, and make you feel good when you wear them. What's particularly attractive about this is that you're not trying too hard. You're not dressed to desperate, young, or to hide who you are. You're dressed to enhance who you are. There's a confidence and authenticity in that approach that's magnetic. People notice when someone is comfortable in their own skin and their own clothes. It shows up as an ease, a naturalness that's very appealing. You move differently when you're wearing something that truly fits and feels right. You carry yourself differently when you're not self-conscious about your appearance. This doesn't mean you've given up on looking good. Quite the opposite. You've learned how to look good in a way that's sustainable, authentic, and true to who you are now. That's incredibly attractive. Sign number 6. You're selective about who gets your time and energy. This is where mature attractiveness really shows its power. You don't chase, you attract. You don't entertain low-effort energy or waste time on people who don't value what you bring to the table. You have standards, not because you're snobby or difficult, but because you understand that your time and energy are valuable resources. A 2023 Match.com study revealed something fascinating. Women over 40 were the most selective group on dating apps, and also one of the most messaged. Why? Because quality attracts quality. When you're not desperate, when you have standards, when you're selective about who you invest in, you become more desirable, not less. This selectivity shows up in all areas of your life, not just romantic relationships. You're choosier about friendships, work commitments, social obligations, and how you spend your free time. You've learned to say no to things that don't align with your values or contribute to your well-being. This isn't about being exclusive or superior. It's about being intentional. You've lived long enough to understand that you can't be everything to everyone, and that trying to please everyone is a recipe for exhaustion and resentment. You've learned to invest your energy where it will be appreciated and reciprocated. This selective approach is incredibly attractive because it signals self-respect and high standards. People want what's not easily available. When you're not desperate for approval or connection, when you have clear boundaries about what you will and won't accept, people naturally value your time and attention more highly. You might notice that people work harder to earn your approval, to get on your calendar, to be included in your inner circle. That's because they sense that being chosen by you means something. Your selectivity has created value. This doesn't mean you're harsh or unkind, quite the opposite. When you do choose to invest in someone, when you do give your time and energy, it's generous and wholehearted because it's conscious and intentional. If you've noticed that you're more particular about who gets access to your time and energy, if you find yourself naturally weeding out relationships and commitments that don't serve you, if people seem to value your attention more than they used to, that's not you becoming difficult. That's you becoming discerning. And discernment is very attractive. Sign number 7. You're comfortable in silence. Most people can't sit in silence. They fidget, they overshare, they talk just to fill the space. They pull out their phones to avoid the discomfort of quiet moments. But you can hold eye contact, you can listen deeply, you can just be present without needing to perform or entertain. This comfort with silence is a sign of profound inner peace and confidence, and it's incredibly rare and attractive. It shows that you're comfortable with yourself, that you don't need constant stimulation or validation, and that you have the emotional maturity to be fully present in moments of quiet. This is backed by psychology. Therapists often note that people who can tolerate silence in conversation often command more respect and attention. Why? Because silence creates space for reflection, for deeper thoughts to emerge, for real connection to happen. When you're comfortable with silence, you become a better listener. People feel heard and understood in your presence because you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, you're actually present, actually listening, actually taking in what they're saying. This also means you don't feel compelled to fill every moment with chatter or to be on all the time. You can sit quietly with a friend and both enjoy the peace. You can be in a group setting without needing to be the entertainment. You can hold space for others' emotions without trying to fix or change them. In our hyper-connected, constantly stimulated world, this ability to be present and peaceful is like a breath of fresh air. People are drawn to individuals who can create calm, spacious environments where deeper connection can happen. This might show up as people frequently commenting on how peaceful they feel around you, how they can really talk to you, how you make them feel heard and understood. It might show up as people seeking you out when they need someone to just be present with them during difficult times. If you've developed this comfort with silence, if you can sit quietly without discomfort, if you can listen without immediately jumping in with advice or your own stories, that's not just good social skills. That's an attractive quality that draws people to you. Sign number 8. People compliment your energy, not just your looks. You have such a calm vibe. I feel better when I'm around you. You light up the room. There's something about you that's just so peaceful. You have great energy. Sound familiar? Attractive older women often receive energy-based compliments rather than purely physical ones, and this is actually a sign of deeper, more meaningful attractiveness. When people comment on your energy, your presence, your vibe, they're responding to something that goes way beyond surface-level appearance. A 2019 TEDx speaker study on human connection found that people rated energy and presence as more memorable than physical features after meeting someone new. You're making an impact that's emotional, energetic, and spiritual, and that kind of impact lasts much longer than any physical impression. This might manifest as people telling you that you're calming, that they feel more centered around you, that you bring out the best in them, or that you make them feel more confident. These aren't compliments about how you look. They're compliments about how you make others feel. This type of attractiveness is powerful because it's about your inner state, your emotional intelligence, your spiritual presence. It's the accumulation of all your life experiences, your wisdom, your peace with yourself, your acceptance of life's complexities. When someone says you have good energy, they're recognizing something indefinable but very real about your presence. Maybe you've cultivated inner peace through life experiences. Maybe you've learned to let go of things you can't control. Maybe you've developed genuine compassion and empathy through your own struggles. This energy-based attractiveness is also more sustainable than purely physical attractiveness. It doesn't depend on lighting, angles, or having a good day. It's consistently present because it comes from who you are rather than how you look. If you've noticed that people frequently comment on your energy, your presence, or how they feel around you, that's not just nice feedback. That's recognition of a deep, powerful attractiveness that radiates from within. Sign number 9. You set boundaries. Without guilt, you say no, without explaining yourself into the ground. You leave situations that don't feel right without apologizing profusely. You don't make yourself smaller to make others comfortable. You have needs, you acknowledge them, and you don't feel guilty about honoring them. This ability to set and maintain healthy boundaries is incredibly attractive because it signals self-respect, emotional intelligence, and inner strength. It shows that you value yourself enough to protect your peace, your time, and your energy. Studies from Harvard Business Review show that boundary setting is closely linked to leadership and respect. People admire those who value themselves enough to protect their well-being. You're not being rude or difficult. You're being self-respecting, and that's magnetic. This might show up as being able to say no to social obligations that don't appeal to you, not tolerating disrespectful behavior from others, leaving conversations or situations that become toxic, or simply not feeling obligated to justify your choices to others. When you were younger, you might have been a people pleaser, constantly worried about disappointing others or being disliked. You might have said yes to things you didn't want to do, tolerated behavior that made you uncomfortable, or apologized for having preferences and needs. But now, you understand that healthy relationships require healthy boundaries. You know that people who truly care about you will respect your limits. You've learned that saying no to some things allows you to say yes to better things. This boundary-setting ability is attractive in all types of relationships. In friendships, it means you're not taken advantage of, and you don't enable unhealthy dynamics. In professional settings, it means you're respected and valued. In romantic relationships, it means you attract partners who see you as an equal rather than someone they can control or manipulate. The key is that you set boundaries from a place of self-care rather than selfishness, and from strength rather than defensiveness. You're not mean or harsh. You're simply clear about what works for you and what doesn't. If you've developed the ability to say no without guilt, to leave situations that don't serve you, to ask for what you need without apologizing, that's not just personal development, that's attractive personal development. Sign, Malcolm 10. You never stop growing and evolving. Attractive older women don't get stuck in their past identity or rest on their laurels. You might be learning a new language, building a side business, exploring a creative passion, hitting the gym with a new fitness goal, mentoring younger women, or simply staying curious about the world around you. A Stanford Center on Longevity. Report found that women in their 40s and 50s are more likely than any other demographic group to engage in new hobbies, passions, and self-development activities. That curiosity, that continuous growth, that refusal to become stagnant, it's absolutely contagious and incredibly attractive. This ongoing evolution might manifest in small ways, like trying new recipes, exploring different parts of your city, or reading books outside your usual genres. Or it might manifest in bigger ways, like going back to school, starting a new career, traveling to places you've never been, or developing new skills. The common thread is that you haven't decided that your learning and growing days are over. You're not living entirely in the past, constantly talking about the good old days or how things used to be. You're actively engaged with the present and excited about the future. This growth mindset is attractive because it signals vitality, optimism, and mental flexibility. It shows that you're not set in your ways, that you're open to new experiences and perspectives, that you haven't given up on yourself or your potential. People are drawn to individuals who are still becoming, still evolving, still surprising themselves and others with new capabilities and interests. It's energizing to be around someone who sees life as an ongoing adventure rather than a series of settled chapters. This doesn't mean you're restless or unable to appreciate what you have. It means you understand that growth and contentment can coexist, that you can be grateful for your life while still being excited about what's possible. If you find yourself regularly learning new things, pursuing new interests, setting new goals, or simply staying curious about the world, that's not just keeping busy, that's staying attractive through continuous growth. Sign Darfrance 11. People say, you don't look your age, but it's more than skin deep. You don't look 50. You must be lying about your age. I can't believe you have grandchildren. You have such youthful energy. These comments aren't just about your skin, your hair, or your body. They're about how you carry yourself, how you engage with the world, and the vitality that radiates from within. Yes, maybe you take good care of your health. Maybe you eat well, stay active, use good skin care, and make choices that support your physical well-being. But mostly, what people are responding to when they say you don't look your age is that you're alive. You smile genuinely. You laugh often. You engage enthusiastically with the world around you. In 2022, the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine published a study showing that women who prioritized mental wellness and stayed physically active were perceived as biologically younger. Not just due to their appearance, but due to their demeanor, energy, and vitality. This youthful quality isn't about trying to act like someone half your age or refusing to acknowledge your actual age. It's about embodying vitality, curiosity, and engagement at whatever age you are. It's about having a sparkle in your eyes, an ease in your laugh, and an openness to life's experiences. When people say you don't look your age, they're often responding to the fact that you haven't become resigned, bitter, or closed off. You haven't decided that your best days are behind you. You're still showing up fully to your life, still finding joy in simple pleasures, still open to new experiences and connections. This vitality is deeply attractive because it's life-affirming. People want to be around individuals who remind them that life is good, that there's still much to discover and enjoy, that aging doesn't have to mean giving up on happiness and growth. The real beauty of this sign is that it's not about looking younger, it's about embodying aliveness. And aliveness, at any age, is magnetic. How to own your attractive power. Now that we've explored these 11 signs, you might be recognizing yourself in several of them. Maybe you're starting to see that what you've been dismissing as just getting older is actually you coming into a powerful, attractive phase of your life. So what do you do with this recognition? How do you own and embrace this mature attractiveness? First, stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop diminishing your accomplishments. Stop deflecting compliments. When someone tells you that you look great, that they enjoy your company, that they value your perspective, simply say, thank you. Don't follow it up with self-deprecating comments or explanations of why they're wrong. Second, invest in yourself intentionally. This doesn't mean spending a fortune on anti-aging treatments or trying to look 25 again. It means continuing to grow, learn, and evolve. It means taking care of your physical and mental health. It means pursuing interests that light you up. It means surrounding yourself with people who see and appreciate your value. Third, stop comparing yourself to younger women or to who you used to be. Your attractiveness now is different from what it was when you were younger. But different doesn't mean less. In many ways, it's more depth, more authenticity, more substance, more real connection. Fourth, be selective about who gets access to your energy. You don't owe anyone your time, attention, or emotional labor just because they want it. Choose relationships and commitments that energize you rather than drain you. Finally, celebrate other women. The more secure you become in your own attractiveness, the easier it becomes to genuinely celebrate others without feeling threatened. This creates a positive cycle that enhances your own magnetic quality. Remember, attraction at this stage of life isn't about being the youngest or thinnest person in the room. It's about being the most authentically you. It's about embodying the wisdom, confidence, and depth that can only come with lived experience. So there you have it, 11 signs that you're not just aging, you're thriving as a very attractive older woman. If you recognized yourself in even a few of these signs, it's time to stop questioning your appeal and start owning your power. You are not past your prime, you are in your prime. You're not becoming less attractive with age. You're discovering a completely different, often more powerful type of attractiveness. The confidence, wisdom, emotional intelligence, and authenticity you've developed over the years aren't consolation prizes for getting older. They're the main event. I want to leave you with this thought. Society has spent so much time telling women that their value decreases with age, that many of us have internalized that message. We've learned to become invisible, to step aside, to accept less than we deserve because we believe our best days are behind us. But what if that's completely wrong? What if your most attractive, most powerful, most magnetic years are actually ahead of you, not behind you? The truth is, you have something now that you didn't have in your 20s or 30s. You have yourself. The real you, the authentic you, the you that's been refined by experience, strengthened by challenges, and deepened by time. That version of you is incredibly attractive, whether you realize it or not. So here's my challenge to you. For the next week, I want you to pay attention to how people respond to you. Notice when someone seeks your advice. Notice when younger people gravitate toward your energy. Notice when someone compliments your presence rather than just your appearance. Notice when people seem to feel better after spending time with you. These aren't coincidences. These are reflections of your attractiveness manifesting in the world around you. If this video resonated with you, please hit that like button. It helps me know that this content is valuable to you and helps other women find these messages. And definitely subscribe if you haven't already, because we're building a community of women who refuse to be invisible, regardless of their age. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 11 signs do you recognize in yourself? Has this video changed how you think about your own attractiveness? And if you know a woman who needs to hear this message, please share this video with her. Sometimes we need someone else to help us see what we can't see in ourselves. Remember, you are not becoming less as you age. You are becoming more confident, more authentic, more wise, more selective, more powerful. And that more is incredibly attractive. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue celebrating women who are just getting started, no matter what their age. Keep shining, beautiful souls. Your light is needed in this world.